as a manager, you don't necessarily have to do the coding. You have to be the one to set the vision, to zoom out and see where the team is heading, etc. Now, being able to steer the ship, and that's not necessarily the same skills as coding.
So welcome to Kaka Computer, where tech meets wit and wisdom.
And our topic for this podcast episode is from IT specialist to IT manager. All right, guys, everyone. So, what is the key difference from being an IT specialist and an IT manager? What makes them different? Let's start with.
So, hi guys. So for me, IT specialist, you're managing tech, managing technology. Whereas kung you're an IT manager, you're managing people, managing projects, managing revenue, business. No, so talagang different shift siya of what skills you need to learn and to apply.
Yeah, I think in our case naman, we treat IT specialist as more on individual contributor, while the IT manager is more on like people management aspect. Or just like Jambi said, sometimes you also have to take into account yung customer relations and cost implications of things that you're doing. Yeah. How about you, Makita?
I think that just to echo what you guys said, when you're an IT specialist, your primary focus is delivering a good product or a good service. But when you become an IT manager or even a tech leader in general, a big piece of it is not only stakeholder management, but people management, because now you're responsible for other people that are under you. And it's also your responsibility to bring out the best in them so that they can become better IT specialists on their own.
Like more of, steering the ship as a manager, and as a specialist, you're more of like, you're part of the team that rows the boat. Right.
Yeah.
All right. So how can an IT professional or a specialist or an individual contributor prepare themselves to become more of an IT manager?
Yeah, I think in my case, it's I think really knowing like the key responsibilities of a manager, like leadership, people management. Because when you were an IT specialist or an individual contributor, normally you're just focused on your task, completing what features assigned to you or what your specific task was assigned to you by your either manager or your like boss. So when switching to IT manager, it would be the completely set of different tasks. So before you step into that role, it's really best to try to like get an initial understanding of what you'll be doing as a manager. So there are tons of resources out there to do that, and you could just specifically search for like what the job description of the role that you'll be promoted to, and from there, I think the rest will follow. And of course, embrace the unknowns. Yeah, how about you guys?
So for me, so it's number one, having the curiosity to get to know your people, and having the patience with them. Kasi you will have a lot of variety of people that will be under you. A lot of some of them will learn really fast, and then some of them really slow, and you have to be patient to nurture those talents. And so that's the first part. The second part is being assertive. Kasi as a manager, people will test you how you are, diba? If they can push you around, have all of these requests. So you need to define what kind of leader you want to be. Diba? Does all of these little things matter to you? What matters to you as a leader? For example, for me, what matters to me is delivering results. Diba? So I'm generally permissive, but you have to deliver results. The moment you miss delivering results, then that's the time I will double down on you, right? So that's my
That's a really good insight. I think for me, I want to drill down on the people aspect of it, because the reality is, and this was also a misconception I had when I was starting out. You think that, as an engineer, as long as you show that you are really capable and that you do your job well, you'll automatically get promoted to a leadership position. But usually it's the people that know how to network and brand themselves a certain way and really advocate for themselves and push themselves forward that actually do get the promotion. Because like you said, it's very important for a leader to have a purpose, because that's what people buy into. And the people that get promoted are usually the people that inspire others, because that's a good indication of the soft skills that are really valued when it comes to what top leadership is looking for when hiring for managers or even promoting people into managerial positions. So it's important to have the good technical capabilities, but you also need to develop your soft skills and learn how to network up, down, and across the organization.
Yeah, actually, plus one on that, right? You really have to be more connected to your team, especially that when you become more of a manager, you tend to help them out more. You tend to set the team space, right, as the pacemaker of the team as a manager. So definitely plus one on that.
Mhm.
So doubling down on the skills, what are the skills that as an IT specialist I need to have to step up to become, an IT manager? Aside from, communication.
Siguro doubling down on what you said, managing up. No? So, and as an individual contributor, I thought that was just kissing ass. Di ba? So, sip-sip lang ako sa boss ko, right?
Mm.
But managing up, you need to manage your boss and how kasi usually they'll be angry, then you have to cascade that down to your people. Will you also cascade down their wrath? Di ba? Hindi, you will filter it and cascade it in a way that's actionable.
Mm.
Di ba? But also being able to get the message through without the emotions or the diba? The drama.
Plus one, parang sometimes I say it's like parang you're babysitting your
Yeah.
boss. Kasi as a manager, you need to be able to, communicate then as a middleman from even higher ups there and to your team. How about you?
Yeah, I think for me, one of the important skills that I wish I've learned early on is there's instances wherein when you were an IT specialist, you get to get what you have to do from your boss. Like they tell you what to do, right?
Yeah.
So it's very straightforward. Okay, this is the requirement, and I need you to do this, and this is the goal. Okay, I'll do that for you. But when it comes to being an IT manager, sometimes you have to think of your own initiative. You have to come up with your own tasks. So I think that skills, like the planning skills, it's really important for you to navigate the role of being an IT manager. Yeah, being able to figure out what to do or how to take action on things that's happening within your team, and don't you can't just wait for instruction from, let's say, your super manager in your company. So you have to take action. How about you?
All of you have raised like really good skills that I think are important. And I think leadership as a whole is a skill in itself. And it's true that it really is a muscle that you need to develop. And you can only do that when you really practice leadership already. And just looking at, I wouldn't necessarily call them managers, but good tech leaders in the industry that probably a lot of the listeners would be familiar with, like people like Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg. These people are not necessarily fitting into the same box. They all have their different leadership styles and their personalities. But I think a common denominator among all these leaders is that they know what they're good at and they kind of hone in on that aspect. And it's that personal branding, which is a skill in and of itself, that really elevates them above the rest and what makes people want to follow them. Because even, contentious figures, for example, like Elon Musk, they'll have people that really back him. And that's primarily because he's such an effective leader in the sense of he has a clear vision. He has an idea of how to implement it. And that's something that people can get inspired by and people can get behind by. And as a leader, the most important thing about you is that you have that big why that will make people want to follow you and also contribute meaningfully to whatever it is that you're trying to build.
All right, before we continue to our questions, let's take this moment to thank our sponsor. So the episode of Ka-Computer is proudly sponsored by Luminar Solar Solutions. Did you know that switching to solar energy can help you save money and the planet at the same time? That's where Luminar Solar Solutions comes in. As an emerging provider in the Philippines, Luminar makes solar power easy and affordable for both homes and business. They also offer air conditioning units and CCTV systems to help you stay cool, secure, and energy efficient all year round. If you're ready to start saving and live more sustainably, find them on Facebook at Luminar Solar Solutions and send them a message to get started.
All right. Moving on to our next topic. When you were transitioning from IT specialist to IT manager, what were the challenges or most challenging you faced during the transition?
So for me, it's unlearning two stuff. Two
Okay.
things. No?
Parang
So,
may hugot.
no, over 3 to 4 years of ano. No, so first is as a IT specialist, my conditioning is I have to be the best in what I do. Kasi specialist eh.
Yeah.
Right? But as a manager, I applied that to the first 2 years of my job. So I had to be the best. I had to be better than everyone because I'm leading the team, I'm setting the pace, etc. Took me a lot of time to unlearn that because if as a manager, you don't necessarily have to do the coding. You have
Yeah.
to be the one to set the vision, to zoom out and see where the team is heading, etc. No, being able to steer the ship, and that's not necessarily the same skills as coding, right? So you don't have to be the best in Python or AWS Cloud Native, etc. No, so that's my first thing that I have to had to unlearn. I don't have to be the best at the Python tech stack, etc. Number two that I had to unlearn is that how I think of rewards. No? As a student, I was the kid that was given 500 pesos when my for each grade that's crosses 90. No,
Oh.
so for me it was like when you do your good grades, you get money, right?
Yeah.
You get an increase, whatever. So my conditioning going into the work, no, when I do my job, I get an increase. No, but as a manager, the grim reality is we have a limited budget that we distribute the increases to, right? And we only have a handful of people we can promote every year. So how do we teach these people how to think of rewards, diba? And how to think of their jobs? So if you just do your job, you're just paid a fair market value for what services you offer, right? Yung promotion or increase, that is actually should be above and beyond what you're doing, what is expected of you. That is a reward for doing more than what is told of you, diba? And a lot of these new people was like, oh, okay, I'm in the IT industry, I should be getting X thousand na, no? 20% increase year on year. No? But ang ano nila doon, they're focusing too much on money and salary rather than the value they're giving to society and to the company that they are going into. No? So yun yung parang two misconceptions that I had to unlearn. Took me 4 or 5 years to unlearn. No? So yun.
How about you guys?
Well, ako kasi, parang biggest challenge probably for me is, as you're progressing your career, not everyone wants to become a manager as their next step. Some of them wants to, like I faced that question of, do you want to deep dive more? You still want to rank up, but do you want to become more of a specialist, a total specialist? Or do you really want it to become a manager, but you have to give up more of that, technicality that you wanted to do? So I think that it really took me a lot of time and, thinking about if I really wanted to even become a manager in the first place. But of course, I wanted to, go the next step. But is really the manager track for me? So I guess that's the challenge.
How about you, Mitya?
Well, I think the biggest piece of it is, and just for context for the audio listeners, I'm currently in a technology management graduate scheme. And one really big thing that I had to unlearn were a lot of the introverted behaviors that are so heavily normalized as an engineer. Because just working as a software engineer within teams, you kind of get used to the idea that it's okay to just stay introverted and let your work speak for yourself. But being a manager is an entirely different ballgame. Even my experience as being the CTO of different startups, it's still different because as a CTO, I can kind of set the tone for how the team will function. But when you're a manager, it's so much more important to learn how to become a team player. And like you guys were saying, the nature of your work completely changes. So even though I try to be as hands-on as possible, it looks a little bit different now. So when I'm coding, for example, in the back of my head, I'm already thinking, can this be a mentorship session where I can code live and then have people sit in and watch it? So it's just little things like that you need to adjust, and you can do it gradually to make it easier for yourself. But you need to still have front and center in your mind, like how can this bring value to the people that I work with and to the people that we then service as a business.
Yeah, I agree. I think my last take on this is really as an IT manager, one of the challenges I faced early on is the understanding of the business side of things, right? So you have this cool initiative. It's, let's say, to adopt this technology. It's really good for developer experience. Every developers love it, but where do you get the budget for it? Of course, it would have some cost implication. So yeah, I think for me, understanding the business side of things, how budgeting works, how do yearly budgeting works, was really helpful in yeah in my day to day job, because yeah, every decision you have to make, it has some cost implication for sure.